What's better than fantasy football? Kyle Fridland, Jake Fridland.
Ain't nothing better than football.
Two brothers talking about the nitty and gritty of the best sport in the world. Welcome to the Fantasy Simpletons Show! It might be February, but it's always a great time to talk about fantasy football. Following on the fallout of the 2025 season, there's already becoming lists of analysts and early predictions for the 2026 draft season of where everyone's going to be in each and every round and each and every pick. And it's up to us. It's our job to figure out if they are too high, a little overhyped, underhyped, or if the ranking is just right.
This is where people predict these guys are, and we're going to kind of talk about it, give our own thoughts.
I want to first focus on a certain player that missed most of last season due to an injury. So his ranking fascinates me. On Malik Nabers, he is usually going at the very top of the second round, usually the very first pick in round 2. By the way, we're doing this off of standard PPR, 12-team drafting rules, so each round is 12 picks. Going at the top of the second round, he averages around wide receiver number 8. Some of the other players being drafted around him are players such as Jonathan Taylor, Devon Achane, Rashee Rice, Nico Collins. Jake, where do you think? Do you think this is a fair placement for him?
I mean, I do. In theory, I think it makes sense in theory.
Yeah.
Based on his production before he got injured last year and how well everyone is predicting, the main man himself, QB, what's his name again?
Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that tells you how much I follow the Giants. But no, yeah, I think it's very well possible that Malik Nabers will go this high. I think is an exceptional wide receiver. His first year. Last year was his sophomore year, and he got injured. But yeah, this year I think he should come back and be better than ever. The team needs him. And I'm curious to see how well he will do with Jackson Dart because we didn't really see much of that. You know what I mean?
No, it is fascinating because he got hurt pretty much right when Jackson Dart started getting in. I think they played like one full game together, like a game and a quarter before he got that season-ending injury. So a lot of this is just, I think, hype building up.
Yeah.
Of we want to see these two together. We want to see the kind of connection they can have because obviously he's going to step back in and become the number one.
Right.
But it's also he has a bit of an injury history now. He got injured a lot in his first season. We just haven't seen a lot of his work with Jackson Dart yet. I know it looks exciting, but we haven't seen quite how good their chemistry can be yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And any player coming off a torn ACL is always a little bit fuzzy because you don't know, especially a player as athletically gifted as Malik Nabers, if he comes out of the season kind of slow moving, like maybe not as much of that like quick burst that he had in the previous year because he's still recovering from the ACL, it could lead to some early disappointment. For me, I'm cautious about fantasy. I think it's just a tiny bit too high. I'd have him a little.
Yeah.
I definitely Nico Collins is like a few picks under him. I definitely take Nico right now over Malik Nabers personally.
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, I think just knowing, just seeing Nico Collins through the whole season and what he can do with, with that team and what he has done makes me think that, yeah, you're right. He probably should go before Malik, but it is the hype up in my mind is still so much there because, I mean, Malik's first year, he was, on the same level as Nico Collins, if not better.
Yeah.
killed it. Um, so I do hope to see that, and partially in my mind too. I just kind of want to touch on the fact that sometimes people have sophomore slumps, and we didn't really get to see that. If that was
No, we didn't.
Neighbors, it could there could be a lot of things that contribute to that. The QB change. Who knows how he'll do with Jackson Dart? Really, until we see it. So, and this happened with Brian Thomas. Is he going to be Brian Thomas? I don't think he will be. I think he's better than Brian Thomas. I think the team is going to try to use him more as clear cut number one, and he doesn't really have much competition. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a tough one, but honestly, I would buy into the risk of taking him earlier
Hmm.
than later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see him right around Nico Collins, honestly.
Also, if you own him in Dynasty, I have a personal thing. I have him in a league myself, and I'm kind of thinking of the idea of shipping him possibly, only because I think if you have a great set of receivers already, like I have one in a
Mhm.
league where I have a lot of different other options at receiver, a lot of great capable starters. So you could always turn him into like a very high draft pick because the hype is still super high on him.
Right.
If you're looking to get maybe top end of the first round of the draft,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just me though.
No, that's a fair point. I like that.
Dude, how about some of these running backs though? Because this fascinates me because there is a lot of change and a lot of movement with certain positions. I did not expect. Omarion Hampton is going higher in these upcoming drafts than he was this last season. He's going even higher. He's projected right at the end of the second round, pick 11, the
Mhm.
eighth running back off the board, which I think before he was somewhere between 10 to 12. Some of the guys, even the guys around him, Ashton Genty is above him at RB7. So a lot of people are still super high on these running backs that got drafted last year. They still think they're going to have a much bigger ascension or essentially a
Yeah.
much better season than they did last year. And Amarian
A
Hampton,
jump
even when
up.
he came back,
Mhm.
he was more like closer to top 20 than he was anywhere in the top 10.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that fascinates me. What are your thoughts? Is he too high, too low? What do you think here?
I know. Like I guess the thing with a lot of these guys is like I can see them in the spots they're in. I could see Marvin Hampton being um round 2 pick 11. But I I don't know. I do wish that we saw more from him. Like I think it's kind of the same thing with Malik Nabers. There's so much hype, and Omarion's only going into his second season. We didn't see a lot from him last season. But I know it's the team's intent. Like the Chargers want to use Omarion more,
Yeah.
right? Um, and they're definitely. I think they're gonna take a step away from Kamani Vidal. Personally, I mean, I don't know why they would need to continue to use him as they did this last year. And if Marion steps into that role, taking on kind of, you know, both of their jobs, stepping over Vidal, I think he could be uh, a well fit for this pick. You know what I
I th-
mean?
I think he could be too. And I think what goes into getting his pick higher, and I think this certainly helps, Mike McDaniel being brought in as their offensive coordinator. And I think the first thought people had is Devon Achan. The
Hmm.
first thought of he really used Devon Achan to the best of his possible abilities. He was one of the best running backs coming out of last season, not only just as a runner, but as a pass catcher. And if Marion Hampton is still viewed as that three down back, that's like the potential there. So I think that's what a lot of people see
Right,
if
right.
they're trying to overhype him into next season. Personally, I could see that. I also wish the hype was a little lower so that it could be more of an interesting, more of a value pick. Let me see actually some of the running backs going around this spot here. Some of the other running backs. There's Chase Brown under him. Um, a few picks above is James Cook. I would definitely take James Cook as a safer pick.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley going at number 10. Quite a fall from grace for Saquon in this end
Hmm.
season. But that all depends on how the offense is run and with this new offensive coordinator coming in.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'd still say cautiously too high, but I can see where the optimism is coming from. There's another running back on this list that I remember putting on here, and I think personally this guy is way too undervalued at the moment. Derrick Henry is currently going in the 4th round of drafts.
Mm.
A fourth round running back, the RB 14. That
Dang.
is too low. That is definitely too. In my mind, I think that's too low. I think he's definitely going to go back up there a little bit. Even if you think he's on starting to get out of his prime, maybe he's could be going on a more of a downward trend. He's still a much better running back than most running backs in the league.
Yeah.
I do not get where that ranking comes from.
I don't get that either. Unless they think they're going to draft someone to maybe, start taking more of a workload from him. But I mean, you can't assume that, right now in this moment, as he's sitting atop the throne as the number one guy in the offense.
It's the curse of
Um,
it's the curse of being over 30.
it is.
People
It
are
really
people
is.
are waiting for the
Yeah.
season where you just fall to dust.
Yeah. And that's the thing with Derrick Henry, man. And that's what everyone he's always undervalued. At least a little bit. Seemed like the last few years, every year it just seems like, oh, people are like, oh, this is the year he's gonna do worse. He's gonna drop off, and he just always seems to find a way
He
to
takes
be
care
that
of his
guy.
body. The
Yeah,
amount
he
of
does.
money he puts into taking care of himself year after year. He's an
Yeah.
athletic freak that is very different from other running backs. People don't realize he's currently right now top 10 all-time rushing yards. He made
Hmm.
it to the top 10. He's just built different.
Right. So like, you just really can't count this man out until he's out of the league.
Yeah.
Honestly.
He's
So
a he's a Hall of Famer.
yeah, I would definitely say that pick is undervalued,
Yeah.
especially in redrafts. I mean, you want to talk about dynasty? That's a different story. You think maybe
Dynasty,
going,
but Dynasty, here's the problem with players that are above 30 years old in Dynasty, even outside of quarterbacks. If you're above 30, it's hard to trade. It's hard to
yeah,
get good value trades for an older player because so
yeah,
many people want to give you the minimum that they possibly can
hmm,
because they don't want a player that's going to play a year or two. So most
right.
of the time, if I just have a great player like a Derrick Henry, if I'm not getting the true value that I want out of him, I'm just keeping him.
Honestly,
I'm
yeah,
just
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 keep
keep
him.
them until they're done because most of the time you're gonna get lowballed. You're not gonna get fair value on
You
the
won't get
players
what
of
he's
their
worth.
current talent.
Yeah, what he's worth in this year that he might be elite. They look further down the line. That's what dynasty is all about.
Devontae
But
Adams got almost 20 touchdowns this year. He could have gotten 50 touchdowns. Nobody will give me anything for him.
dude, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, right?
See, but dynasty strategy is a whole thing. You wait till the playoffs, till like right before the playoffs to sell the guys that are older. You know that will get you a lot of points. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Um, but as far as redraft goes, yeah, wildly undervalued. These old guys are undervalued. It's just how it goes. Um, so yeah, dude, I would say third round. I mean, depends what happens in the draft, but right now, Derrick Henry is a top tier running back.
At
So
the
treat
very
him
least,
that
he
way.
should be in that top 10.
He should. He should.
He should.
So definitely third round, right? Oh, what would you say?
I would say third, like a high third round
Higher
is
third
fair.
round, yep.
Higher
Hmm.
third round, get him in that top 10, right around where Saquon is.
Yeah,
I think that
a
I
little bit
feel like
under
that's
Saquon,
more than fair.
for sure. I would say that too.
But let's keep looking here. There's one player that caught my. That's right. I found one player who I think their draft stock has sort of skyrocketed way beyond what people could have expected. I understand why, but I want to get your thoughts on this. Luther
Okay.
Burden
Yeah,
is
I was
currently
thinking about him.
middle of the fourth round. He's going just a few picks after Derrick Henry.
It's wild.
Wide receiver 23. Let me look some of the other receivers going around him in this spot. Above him is Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith. That's not that crazy. But then there's also Mike Evans and Terry McLaurin. There's Kyron Williams next to him. I mean, it's a lot to project on a player who really only started getting going late season.
Yeah,
And personally, I think the problem is it's not that I don't think he can ascend. I think they clearly like him in this offense. I think
right.
there can be a big year two jump, but Adunze's still there, and Moore is still there,
Yeah,
and you have Coleston Loveland, who's probably just as big. I would argue he could be the number one going
I'd
into the
say,
season out of anybody.
yeah, people should see him on a higher level than Burden for sure. Right.
Yeah, I like Burden, but I don't know if I. This is too high for my liking. This is not.
Yeah. See, this is my whole thing with their offense too. And we've talked about this. They have so many weapons, right? It's really hard for me to imagine which one of the wide receivers is actually going to be the one for that year, you know?
Yeah,
And if they try to use them all equally in that offense, I mean, they're all just going to be kind of subpar wide receivers, middle of the pack guys,
I
right?
think so. There's still a
So,
chance one could stand out over the other.
yeah. And if they move their offense, towards the younger guys, which I think is the general consensus for a lot of these teams that have younger guys, you know?
Yeah.
And um so what I'm trying to say is like DJ Moore, you know, how long is he going to be there, right? Will
Yeah.
it be will he be there this season at the start of the season? We don't really
It
know. I think that's kind of what the analysts are thinking. That something might happen there.
I think he's very
Um
tradable.
Very tradable guy. He's been on what? Few teams now.
Well, no, he was on the Panthers for a number of years. Then he got traded uh in the trade that
To the
ended up being
Bears.
for Bryce Young. So he was originally Justin Fields number 1. So then
Wasn't
Caleb
he on?
Williams came in, then Ben Johnson. So he's been there for a few years
Oh,
now.
so he just yeah, okay. So he went straight to the Bears. That's right. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we'll see. Well, that's
We'll
kind of
see.
what
It's
the
funny
idea
because
I
Roma
think is.
Dunze is way I can't remember his exact ranking, but his is way, way lower. He has lost a lot of stock because they're invested in Burden. Colson Loveland currently, as the last time I checked, he's only a few picks under Burden. Here are the tight ends being drafted right now, Jake. There's Trey McBride, there's Brock Bowers, and then there's Colson Loveland. He's right now he's being the third tight end drafted off the board, which is not what I wanted to see. Now all of a sudden that makes him a little less enticing because now you really have to be right on him
Yeah.
to be able to capitalize on that. And that anytime you're taking a tight end higher than like the 5th round, that's very risky pick.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Very risky.
For sure. Um, dude, I think we should talk about some of these wide receivers that are that have dropped pretty low.
Which ones?
Um, I'm thinking specifically about Marvin Harrison
Yeah.
and Travis Hunter. Okay.
I think we should actually Marvin Harrison's perfect to talk about. And
Me
he's the
too.
only
Yeah.
one where I want to talk about him joint with another player.
Michael
Marvin
Wilson.
Harrison and Michael Wilson. Right now they're being drafted neck and neck. And Michael
That's
Wilson, this is the highest he's ever been drafted, but it's the exact opposite for Marvin Harrison Jr., who stock has plummeted. He is currently being drafted number 36, wide receiver 36. That is a wide receiver
yeah.
three.
People are getting caught up, Kyle, I think, and it's funny that I mean, this is such all of all of these predictions are such hype out of what happened last season. And this is a clear example, right? Um Michael Wilson had a killer second half to the season,
Yeah,
and Marvin Harrison struggled a lot of the season. A lot of it, we don't I mean, he was hurt for a little while.
he struggled
But
with injuries when Jacoby Brissett came in.
yeah, and that was a big thing. But then I think people saw that Michael Wilson was doing so well, and Jacoby Brissett was just passing to him nonstop every game. 10
Yeah,
targets here, like 15 targets there. And yeah, I think people are riding on that high. Here's the deal though, Kyle, and it just doesn't make sense to me. Like Marvin Harrison, in his draft that he came into a couple years ago, number one wide receiver in the draft, like generational talent, all this stuff. The team is still trying to build around Marvin Harrison. Okay, they're not trying to build around Michael Wilson. I'll tell you that.
I would argue they're not even trying to build around Marvin Harrison. They're trying to build around Trey McBride.
Well, there's that too, but on in the simple fact that Trey McBride's a tight end, right? But then they need a number one wide receiver.
Yeah,
It's Marvin Harrison. It's not Michael Wilson. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, um,
here's
I
the
think Michael
thing.
Wilson will be a good complement, right?
Yeah,
But it is funny that they're right next to each other on the board.
I th-
Um, I
I
don't know.
think it makes sense for both sides. Here's the thing. I think Michael Wilson's spot is a little too high, but coming off of his waiver wire emergence, how well he did last season, I get it. Marvin Harrison, I'm not going to say he's too low. I think he's just
Whoa.
right. And here's why I
No.
think that. For one, he's not their number one target. It's Trey McBride and it's Trey McBride's team. Let's get that out of the way right now. I
That is
don't
true.
think
That's true.
Marvin Harrison is taking over. And here's the other part. We don't know what this team's going to be next season.
Mm-hmm.
We could all sit here and say it's just going to be Jacoby Brissett again. It's going to be the
Yeah.
same offense. Well, Jacoby Brissett, yeah, he looked good in games, but he didn't win any of those games he was in. And there's nothing that's going to make you less enticing to be a starter for a team than a guy that doesn't win football games. So I
True.
don't think he could still be on the roster, but I think they're going to try to look for some other avenue. I'm not sure what that is because it looks like they want to get rid of Kyler, but they're not in good spot in the draft. So maybe they just take a risk on somebody in like the second or third round, like a Ty Simpson or someone else. But right now, it's not looking good. I don't like their coach. I don't like the coaching hire. It feels desperate. I don't like their OC being Nathaniel Hackett. That's not fun. I don't
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that name, Jake, but that name's pretty
I do.
synonymous to me.
Right.
I just this offense has a chance to be really bad this year. Outside of Trey McBride because he's that good of a talent, I don't know how this passing game's going to hold up.
No, yeah. I completely agree with what you're saying. I just think the risk of waiting this long to get Marvin Harrison, or how should I phrase this? I think that's just it's too long to wait to get him there. He has so much more upside in an offense that works. Um, and even if it doesn't work, I think if he stays healthy, he'll at least get another shot. Right.
Yeah.
This will be his third season. Right, third season, 2026. Um, and I just really want to see what he can do given a better quarterback than Kyler Murray and him staying healthy. That's the biggest thing because he really is a good receiver.
I don't think
Or
they're
at
going to get a
least,
better quarterback than Kyler Murray. Not this year.
I don't know, man.
I don't think
Kyler
Kyler's sticking
Murray's.
around, but I don't think they're going to have a good quarterback this year.
We need someone that will do a better job than Kyler Murray.
We'll have to
However
see.
that looks.
We'll have to see.
Yeah,
For me, I want to see the upside. I'm tired of talking about the upside. I'm tired of talking about how good he can be. I want to
that's
see
fair.
it more than just in a game. I want to see it consistently.
Yeah, that's
That
fair.
that's
I'm
how
just
I want to be compared. If anything,
true, true,
at
true.
the wide receivers under both Harrison and Michael Wilson, Michael Pittman at number 38, I'll take him all day. Are you kidding me? For how good of a season he had last year with Daniel Jones, people keep
Yeah,
forgetting. They think he had a really bad end of the season, which he did, but all of the receivers did because Jones got hurt and the offense stopped working.
mm,
And when Philip Rivers came in, even when he played well, the offense was different. It didn't work the same for the receivers. The production wasn't the same. But Michael Pittman was a top 10 wide receiver for a majority of the season when Daniel Jones played.
true.
Even if he doesn't reach that height again, the 38, I easily undervalued.
Yeah,
Great value at that pick.
I think so too. I think so too. He's the number one wide receiver on the team,
They
and
might not have Alec Pierce this year.
right, I have
So
heard that
that adds a little bit more value.
definitely. So it would be him and Josh Downs, and Josh Downs is kind of, I think, stuck in his role as that slot guy,
Yeah.
um, but doesn't have the breakout that Michael Pittman has had every year he's been on the team. So I you're right. I think he'll continue to produce, and I'm just a little worried about Daniel Jones. Like, when is he? I don't know if he's coming back right away
I
and all this
think
stuff. It's kind of a lot up in
that
the air
could be a
there.
little part of it. I think there's more likely he'll be ready earlier rather than later. I don't know if it's going to be like a exact start of the season, week 1, but I think he'll be okay.
Hmm.
I think they'll
Yeah,
find a way to make it work.
yeah.
And if
Let's
that's
hope
not the
so.
case, maybe if Anthony Richardson plays a few games, then all you got to do is keep track of
Sure,
where he is.
that wouldn't be too bad. Yeah,
No, it
hopefully.
would probably be pretty bad, but all you got to do is
Oh, just
keep
in
track of
terms.
what team he's on, watch him struggle, and then when Daniel Jones is ready to get back into the lineup, get a good trade offer.
Yeah, I
Throw
guess
out a
that.
trade for him.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, it would only be for so long, and yeah. You're
Yeah.
right. Then you're right. His value would get even lower, and you could get him down the line. True. There's another guy on this list though, Kyle,
Yeah.
that I mentioned earlier that I think is interesting. Kind of like a Luther Burden type. Travis Hunter.
Mm.
Hmm.
He is
What do you
the
think about
reason I
that
put him
man?
on there. He's one of the most fascinating picks for me because we were this close of getting to see
Mm.
how good he can be. He had that one great game, and we were
We
like, oh
posted
my
a
gosh,
video. Remember that?
this. We posted a video talking about how excited we were and saying, get this guy before the trade deadline.
And then
And then he
boom.
got hit with a season ending injury
It's terrible.
at the worst possible time. And but here's what's so interesting. Here's what's so fascinating to me. It was around that same time where the offense exploded, where the offense became the best version of itself. And we saw Trevor Lawrence reach this new level we hadn't seen him reach yet. We saw the best play of him, even with Brian Thomas not playing as well. You also had Jacoby Myers, who came in off of the trade, who's still probably going to be on the team. Parker Washington coming in and looking very, very good, very talented looking player.
Yeah.
And there's another receiver on the Jaguars I think I'm forgetting. Brian
Uh,
Thomas, Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington,
Christian Kirk.
Christian Kirk. No, Christian
No,
Kirk isn't
no,
on there
he's on the.
anymore.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
Travis Hunter
that makes
was the
sense.
fourth that I was thinking of, but they
Oh,
essentially they had a lot of weapons.
yeah, Brendan Strange,
Brenton Strange is a part of it. This
tight
team
end.
is loaded a little bit. So my one worry is if it worked so well with him gone, what if this upcoming season when he comes back, they're like, okay, let's have him work more on defense. And let's use him more like we were at the start of the season, which is use him in offense sparingly
Mm.
because we have all these other guys that can perform. If the offense is doing well without him, that makes me worried on how much they're going to want to use him in the offense and think of maybe he's more useful in the defense
Oh, true, true. Can't
because
forget
he
about
is a
that.
super talented corner.
Yeah, he is. He is. Yeah, I know. I mean, the way I'm thinking about it too is if Brian Thomas doesn't come back, right, as the player we saw his first year,
Yeah.
is Travis Hunter going to take over? Simply put it like that.
That it's I
It's a
think it will
possibility.
be tough as long as Brian Thomas is still on the roster.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
That's
But
the one
there we
thing.
go.
There's so many mouths to feed, and because he has so much talent in other places, I that's where it all comes to a head. I
Right,
think he
right.
can be a little higher than this. I mean, end of the ninth round, going into the 10th round, wide receiver 45. I think you can throw a dart a little earlier.
Oh yeah,
Because
100%.
last year
That's
I think he was around the seventh round. I'd be down to take him in the seventh round again, eighth
take him in the
round.
fifth.
I
Throw a
I
dart
don't know if
throw
I
in
would
that
take him in
fifth,
the fifth this time. He's
fifth or
so good.
sixth.
He has that potential. I'm just a little now worried of where his spot's gonna be when he comes back.
Yeah.
If they want to have him be like, oh, he's offense 100%, or if he's more of just a gadget guy. I'll do this just because I'm a fan. Tucker Kraft, currently going near the end of the sixth round, the sixth tight end off the board. Absolutely undervalued. Give me that all day. I can get him in this at the end of the sixth.
Hmm.
Dude, I'm taking that. Dude, I don't
I yeah.
I don't care what anyone else says. He was straight up. He was the number 2 tight end for all of the season that he was healthy, and then he got hurt. If they think he's gonna fall out of the top 5, sure, maybe he doesn't come in fully 100% off the ACL, but I don't see anybody else on this offense stepping up and
That's the
taking
thing.
over his
Yeah.
spot.
I feel like he gets the first looks on offense when he's out there, bro.
And he's a touchdown machine.
He is. He yeah. He's definitely the most consistent guy out there next to Romeo Dobbs. Honestly though. I mean, those are like I think Jordan's favorite players because they just catch the ball. Um the other guys, yeah, are
That's such
just so
that's such a
ridiculous.
dig. Oh, it's his favorite player because he just catches the ball.
Yeah.
He actually
But
does
I
the
mean,
job.
in that offense, bro, be what it be, man. So yeah,
Any other names stick out to you or
dude, we do not have Jake Ferguson on this list.
I think from my memory he was like tight end 10.
Tight end 10. Okay.
Tight end
Yeah.
10. Which that I feel like that's fair.
I think that makes sense. And part of the fun in fantasy, I think, is sticking to guys that you really like, right? That you like
Yeah.
watching, that you think are undervalued in some sense, that can grow and become elite. Everyone wants to have that sleeper pick that they just had from the beginning. So that's why I think it's fun to talk about guys like Jake Ferguson. I like that guy. I know you've kind of always liked Tyler Kraft when he first
Tucker
started getting
Kraft.
in. You have another name?
I actually
I know
have a
you
little
like Chase Brown.
comparison. I like Chase
Oh,
Brown. He's going right under Hampton, which is pretty
yeah.
much where he could be a little
That makes
high,
sense.
but
Yeah.
it's fair. I can end this off with a comparison, a QB
All right.
comparison.
What you got?
Drake May and Matthew Stafford. They were the two leading MVP contenders of the season. Drake May was one vote away from winning MVP, and then we kicked his butt in the Super Bowl. But I think the comparison of where they're going in the draft is so compelling because Drake May is the second quarterback off the board in round 3, early round 3. So that's a massive jump to take quarterback in the 3rd round for most specific areas. And then Matthew Stafford, round 9, pick 7, the 14th quarterback off the board.
Yeah.
That is ageist. That is just straight up
Yeah,
ageist. How can you
it
look
is.
at what he did last season
No,
and the possibility that they could draft another receiver in the draft,
it's
that they're
ridiculous.
only gonna throw the ball more, and you can look at that and just be like, yeah, but he's like 41. But he's gonna be nearly as good as this last season.
Literally.
I don't get
He's
it, man.
God.
I don't
No,
get it.
it's God.
For Dynasty, I can understand why people might not want him in Dynasty, but he's also better than most quarterbacks you can get in Dynasty. And in
Yeah.
this, QB 14, dude, that is so easy. I've got my plan now. I'm just going to draft Stafford.
hmm
I'm good.
Yeah. It's it's a weird thing, and I want like the stats that we have. Are they? You think they read into Dynasty a little bit, or is it straight redraft?
Maybe
Because
Dynasty could
honestly,
play a part of if anybody's doing like redraft leagues this early.
yeah,
They also are probably like avid Dynasty players, and maybe that plays in. But maybe
I
people
feel like
just,
it has to.
again, it's fantasy football is all about taking the young
Yeah.
guys with promise and upside. That's what it's always been about.
hmm
Veterans always get undervalued. Veterans always are
True.
looked at secondary because they're not the hot new thing.
Yeah, you're right.
But the amount of quarterbacks, let me just look at and see what kind of quarterbacks are going in ahead of Matthew Stafford here.
Yeah.
Let me pull this up. If I go to QBs, the quarterbacks going in ahead of him are Brock Purdy. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Caleb
Really?
Williams, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert. Okay, so the list of guys going above him is not horrible like I thought, but he's still too low. He
I
should
mean, Patrick
definitely
Mahomes,
be above a good chunk of these names.
bro. Patrick Mahomes. Are you serious?
That's name brand, baby. That's the
That's
name brand.
You're right. You're right. But that's still ridiculous. People are definitely overvaluing that guy. I'll tell you that much.
He's the Costco brand of quarterback. You just want more.
No, it's ridiculous.
Well, he's especially funny because I don't think he's going to be playing at the start of the season.
Hmm.
And even if he is not going to be playing healthy.
And you know, take this list with a grain of salt because I mean, you'll probably forget about this list to be honest in like a month because it's gonna change.
It's going to
It's gonna
change.
change.
It's after the draft, once we get closer to the season, wild moves are going to be happening. People are going to be moving up and down. The
Mhm.
rookies are going to get involved. Like there's going to be a lot of movement from where it is now. And I'm
Yeah.
sure the guys that we are undervaluing are going to go up, and the guys we're overvaluing are probably going to go down.
Yeah.
So, but you'll just have to wait about 6 months to see.
Exactly.
All right, that is going to be the end of our recording. Thank you so much to everyone that listened out here today. You can follow us on any of our socials down at the bottom there. Whoa, there we go, down the bottom there. And that will be the end here in a
But
complex fantasy world.
yeah,
Just
stay
remember
simple.
to stay simple. God bless everyone.
All right.